People are talking about RM believed to have been wearing a Make America Great Again hat or remix version of that hat. We have pictures of JHope and his abs going viral, but not exactly in a good way. And then we have people demanding that the label remove the members. So hey Dumplings, this is Dave Disci. Let's get into it. Recently, a lot of people have been noticing an influx of HYBE ads playing on their videos. So whatever music video they're watching, they could be watching not a K-pop related thing like Billie Eilish or whoever, and they will see either JHope's new concept video or music video play, or they'll see other members of HYBE as an ad. This is controversial within the K-pop community, as a lot of people in the community don't like when the label pushes the boys or any of their artists through paid promotion. And there's still this idea within the K-pop community that any good artist or any artist that reaches a certain level of popularity like BTS has, they don't need any promotion at all. However, one of the biggest examples of someone reaching hundreds of millions of followers without giving the opportunity to be on talk shows or billboards or given a huge promotion like a lot of the mainstream artists get was Tate McRae in the early days. She had her original song blow up on YouTube, and yet she still was not invited to talk shows or given this huge promotion until later on when she released her album and was part of a big label. So those things that people consider just a natural part of promotion and not paid promotion is actually still paid promotion, because the label starts to pull those strings to make it happen, and in some cases they're paying, and they might have to pay off people just to do these things. And if not in a bad way or a shady way, which I don't think is happening with the BTS members at all, the label is supposed to pay a publicist to book these things. So paid promotion is just what happens in the industry. Everything is a paid promotion. You can get really far just putting your music online, maybe doing your own concerts and funding everything on your own or having everything be your own. But at a certain point, when you hire a team to help you with those things and you're utilizing their connections, you would go further, but you would also be considered using paid promotion as well, because you are paying these people to help promote you. So even if BTS was a part of a label and they needed their own team, which at this point they definitely would, then they're still paying for promotion and help. But for some reason the community is so against ads, which I find really interesting. But enough about that. We need to talk about the reaction to those ads. People are not happy about this, as they recently have been 1 minute or longer or unskippable ads on YouTube. I haven't fully gotten those yet. I imagine I will be getting those very soon, as everyone is talking about it right now. But a lot of people have been upset because it happens to be HYBE artists that are part of this non-skippable ad. Now, I've never had a reason to purchase these ads or do anything like that, so I actually have no idea what it's like on the back end, and if this is a feature that the label themselves can opt to do, or if this is a feature that is just automatically done by YouTube. Now, if it is a feature that the label can actually tick, I would advise against doing that. And my reason is you don't want someone to just listen to the song or ad when they don't want to. Ideally, you show about 5 seconds of the song or whatever, and then you give the viewer an opportunity to skip or not. And basically, whoever ends up staying is going to be proof that they're interested in that music, and they likely will then buy the song. So then now it becomes whoever watched that ad all the way through. You can then target those same people with the album. Does that make sense? So that's more data that they can actually use to make more money, as opposed to if you're forcing people to watch the music video, then people who aren't interested are also going to get the album or the music video as an ad, which would not help the artist or company, because those people are not going to buy or listen or stream or whatever. However, this is just my thoughts as someone who has worked in the social media space, has done ads for companies and that sort of stuff. So those are just things that I'm aware of. But I'm also thinking that this was a feature that was done without the label's consent. Like, it was just a feature that YouTube has implemented. I think one of the reasons why they feel okay to do this is because platforms like Hulu, Netflix, and whatever have those options where if you don't buy the higher tiers, you are watching unskippable ads. And some of those are like a minute or 2 minutes long. I know even some of the freer platforms like Pluto TV or whatever, they have like 6 ads that play in a row, and you can't skip any of them. And I'm sure in total those are probably about a minute or 2 minutes long. So YouTube is watching that, and they're realizing that they can do that as well, and people typically won't have a problem with it, or so they think. The issue, I think personally, and the difference I think, is when you're tapped into a Hulu movie or whatever, you're expecting to give about an hour of your time. But when you're tapped onto YouTube, where maybe you're just hoping to view something for 3 minutes and then that's it, then you're less patient to watch a 1 minute ad that is like 30% of the length of the video that you're watching. Or maybe that's what we'll see a rise in, which is content that is much longer, like an hour or 2 hours longer, and those are the things that are going to be posted to YouTube. And that definitely means I'm going to have to start amping up the length of these videos and try to put in more news stories in here. Sometimes I have a lot, so maybe I'll do that. I'm sure you guys would enjoy just hearing even 3 more news stories that are happening today if I were to do that. But that wasn't the only thing that was being talked about today, as people are mentioning that JHope's picture of his abs have gone viral, but funny enough, not in a way that is normal and in a way that everyone normally would freak out about. The photos from the concept photo showed JHope with his abs, and it was really chiseled, and a lot of people were emphasizing that you could see definition, it looked really good, and then a lot of people were taking screenshots and moments from JHope's recent performance and said that you can't see the abs there, and it's clear that the concept photos were heavily edited. I definitely find this to be very interesting because a lot of this definitely depends on the angle in which you're viewing his abs, because if the light is hitting it from one angle and there are heavier shadows, you're usually going to see more definition and you're going to see either more or less abs depending on movements. So if he is crunching his stomach, then obviously you're going to see anything but abs. And if he's arching his back or stretching his stomach out, then obviously the abs or pecs even aren't even going to be visible anymore. And this is true even if you are super, super buff. The haters particularly used a screenshot that showed JHope taking off his jacket or bending in a way where his abs weren't going to be visible. And that was used as evidence to say that his concept photos are heavily edited. All I have to say about this is these people clearly have never seen a person before. These people have clearly never seen a person with abs before. Like, go out and meet someone who has abs, go out and just meet a person, and you would know that depending on how they move, even the skinniest person can look like they have a little bit of fat on their body if they move a certain way, and the biggest person can look much thinner depending on the angle or how they tuck their stomach in or how they move or how they position themselves in a photo. And with that said, we need to talk about recently the whole MAGA hat situation. Recently, JK was believed to have worn a MAGA hat remix by wearing Make Tokyo Great Again. This was, of course, very controversial, and a lot of people have very dark opinions about this. And then, of course, this then led people to protest and be angry with him. This then led JK himself to apologize for the situation and say that he has completely disposed of the hat. And when you give the K-pop community an inch, they like to take a mile. And now suddenly every single member is being looked into. And recently RM was looked into as he wore a Make Comedy Great Again hat. And a lot of people were saying that RM should get the same type of criticism as JK got, as well as a lot of people saying that he is very bad for wearing this, saying that he is not very educated, even though a lot of people call him educated. I highly disagree. I would say that he is very educated. The fact of the matter is, when he wore this hat, it was a different political atmosphere. I believe if you look this up, he posted this around 2023. Around this time, most people felt like it wasn't really even a topic of discussion that Trump was going to be back in the political office. Thus, wearing something like this would just more so be making fun of that whole term or that whole movement rather than supporting or promoting it. The Make Comedy Great Again hat is also a hat that is considered merch for a very specific comedy club that RM likely went to. The hat will mostly be promoting that Korean comedy club than it would be promoting any political movements. It's so interesting because the community then looks at these small things and then completely disregards all of the context and all the things that the boys have done, that RM has done since then or before then, that would obviously take this situation to be something out of character. Like, if he was truly someone who had worn like an actual Make America Great Again, like the actual hat, and then it seemingly makes it clear that he has made a very big salute to the US president, then we also need to look into why he's done that, and that doing that is obviously a very out of character thing for him, and there must be a very specific reason that we're not understanding. I believe a lot of people have said this over and over again, but we should engage in curiosity, especially when someone does something that might feel or be believed to be out of character. And I believe that this idea of canceling someone for doing something that was years ago is very interesting to me. We are at a time where people just like to dig up old things and say, well, this person did this a couple years ago or several years ago, and now they're considered a bad person. But if you are to do this, it would make everyone a bad person. You have to take in consideration not only the political landscape at the time of when someone might have done something like this, but the social landscape at the time, the economic landscape at the time, and just overall what the world was like at that time. Anyone who is a person of color, who is black, is welcome to debate me on my next point that I'm trying to make. But I personally believe that if someone said the N-word 20 years ago, they should not be criticized for it now, as the world was very different 20 years ago than now. Those same people who said it 20 years ago would probably look back at them saying it 20 years ago and cringe and say that that is not them anymore. And yeah, you can take that and you can bring it up 20 years later and cancel them for it, but they were a different person back then and likely a different person now. And back then, saying it was acceptable. Literally everyone said it. Now, I'm very fortunate where I had never been the type of person to really curse or say any of these words that I felt like that could potentially ever be offensive, either in real life or online. So you will not find anything of that, of me saying it. But I don't think that just because someone said it or does something several years ago, they should be crucified for it now. Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.